breaded and perfectly air-fried shrimp, along with cilantro lime slaw and mango sauce. It's the perfect shrimp taco. Welcome to the Salted Pepper, where we cook for real life using real food and we keep it real simple. And today's recipe is for air fryer shrimp tacos. And it actually takes 4 really delicious and easy recipes and combines them into the perfect taco. But definitely the star of the show is the air fryer shrimp. So we're gonna get started with that. What I have here is wild caught, raw, already deveined, already shelled, frozen shrimp that I got at the grocery store, and then I thawed them in the refrigerator overnight, removed them from the bag, rinsed them off, and put them in a colander back in the refrigerator with something underneath to drain. That's how I encourage you to do your shrimp for this recipe. You can certainly peel your own. Just make sure they're raw. They need to be raw. You can peel and devein your own, but this was such a time saver for me, okay? The size are large, which is 31 to 40 count per pound. I found that to be the perfect size for the taco, but you could go smaller or you could go larger. You just may need to change some of the other ingredients so that you have enough of the wet mixture and the breading mixture, okay? So I've got the shrimp here. Now we've got 2 different breading stations, so to speak. So I'm gonna get those prepared right now. The first one's gonna be the wet batter that we put in. We start with 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, add in 1 egg. You don't even need to whisk it up. And then the seasoning blend. Of course, whatever seasoning blend you wanna use, you can use. I'm just gonna tell you what I'm using, and I thought it was amazing. A 1/4 teaspoon of onion powder, a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, a 1/4 teaspoon of cumin, a 1/4 teaspoon of smoked paprika, 1/4 teaspoon of fine grind sea salt or kosher salt, and then a pinch, which for me a pinch is about 1/8 of a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Cayenne pepper is totally optional. That's gonna add a little heat, but trust me, they are not spicy. I promise they are not spicy. So even if you add that in, they're not gonna be spicy. Now, if you add in triple that, they might be a little spicy. So you can add as much or as little as you like. Then we're just gonna mix this up really well. And if it's a little thick, which mine is, and it could just be because of the size of the egg that I used this time, you know, because I have backyard hens, so they're not always exact. I did use 1 large egg, I should mention that. But if it's a little thick, like this is a little too thick, you're just gonna add in a tablespoon of water and thin it out a little bit. The idea is that you want it just a little bit thicker than pancake batter so that it will adhere to the shrimp, okay? And I only put in half at a time because, again, you don't want it to be too thin or it'll just slip right off of the shrimp. That looks perfect. So I added a 1/2 of a tablespoon of water and just get it to that consistency and you'll be good to go. All right, let's mix up the dry ingredients, which are the same set of spices in the same amounts. So 1/4 teaspoon onion powder, 1/4 teaspoon garlic powder, 1/4 teaspoon smoked paprika, 1/4 teaspoon of cumin, that 1/8 of a teaspoon or a little over a pinch of the cayenne pepper, and then a 1/2 of a teaspoon of fine grind sea salt or kosher salt. Add that into a shallow pan, whatever kind you want, but you do want it to be shallow. And then a 1/2 of a cup of breadcrumbs. And we're gonna mix that all up. All right. Okay, so time to get the shrimp all battered up. We've got the wet batter and the dry breading, so we're gonna go in these stages, and then I have a cooling rack. I like to put the shrimp on the cooling rack as I finish breading them because they sit and they kind of dry a little bit, and that helps for air frying, okay? Now, if you're in a hurry, you can certainly get your air fryer starting to preheat. You want to preheat at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for at least 10 minutes with the basket or whatever you're going to use to put your shrimp on inside the air fryer. You want that surface to be nice and hot. But for me, I'm going to do this in stages and I'll preheat as they sit on the cooling rack and rest. All right. So what I like to do is just put the shrimp into the wet mixture and then grab it out. Shake off any excess, okay? Because what's gonna happen if you don't, that will combine with the breadcrumbs and it will get kind of lumpy, and it'll get lumpy a little bit too quickly. We don't want that. All right, then place it right in your breadcrumbs using a different fork or spoon, whatever you like. Just kind of brush these breadcrumbs or push them, whatever you want to say, right over onto the shrimp, making sure it is completely coated. It's going to be a light coating, and that's what you want. You do not want to double up. Don't double dip this, okay? What happens is the exterior becomes too hard and it's not pleasant. Trust me, I've tried it. One part of the shrimp that can be a little bit difficult to coat is right where it starts to curl. So just go ahead and try to open up the shrimp and just make sure you have got it totally coated. Then leave it in there while you do a few more. Then we'll transfer it to our cooling rack. Okay, so I have 4 in there now, and I'm just gonna do the same thing. And then our first one is ready to come out. There we go. All right, there we go. And I just had enough of everything to do the 12 ounces, which is how the shrimp came in a bag for me, 12 ounces of the 31 to 40 count shrimp, okay? So if you're gonna do more, you need to make up more. And I recommend making up the breading in 2 stages. So if you're gonna double this, make up 1 batch, and then when you get done, dump out this batch and make up another batch. The reason being is that the wet mixture does start to clump the breading and it makes it harder to coat, okay? So, all right, we're all done with that. Now we can get our air fryer preheated if you didn't already do that. And for the air fryer I'm gonna use today is the Ninja Combi because I like the way that I can get all the shrimp on at one time and I only have to cook in 1 batch. So now it's time to preheat your air fryer if you haven't already done that. And like I was saying earlier in the video, you wanna make sure that whatever surface you're cooking them on is inside while you preheat. Take your temperature to 400 degrees and hit start. 20 minutes is fine. It takes 8 minutes to cook the shrimp and it takes 10 minutes to preheat the air fryer. Now you can go down on the preheat to 5 minutes if you want. Use your judgment on that. But the hotter the surface is when the shrimp go on, the quicker the breading sears and then you have less sticking. So I really recommend, when at all possible, to go the full 10 minutes of preheat time. For the best results, you're gonna wanna spritz with like an avocado oil or some other neutral oil both sides of the breaded shrimp before you put them in the air fryer. I know some people are saying, well, what's the purpose of air frying? You're still using a lot less oil. But if you don't spritz with oil, you're not gonna have that crunchy exterior. It's just gonna be pretty much baked breadcrumbs, okay? So what I like to do is put the rack over top of another rack here so I don't get my cutting board all dirty, and then just lightly spritz. If your tray's too small, just move it. And then flip gently and repeat for the other side. And it is easier at this point to flip them with your clean hands and not tongs, because tongs can disrupt the breading. So I do like to do this by hand. All right, now, ordinarily I would just load this up while it was in the combi, but because of the angle, I'm gonna do it this way. So now I'm gonna put these shrimp in a single layer on this tray. Then we'll get them back in to air fry. I'm gonna air fry for 4 minutes on one side, flip, 4 minutes on the other side. They can be pretty close together, but you don't really want them touching for the best air circulation and crispiness. If your air fryer is smaller, obviously you could do these in batches, no problem at all, okay? So while the shrimp are air frying, let's make up a cilantro lime slaw to top our tacos with. It's absolutely delicious. What I use is 1 cup of green cabbage, 1 cup of purple cabbage, and then 1 carrot, which will equal about 1/2 of a cup of grated carrot, okay? We're gonna put a 1/4 cup of fresh chopped cilantro in there. The base of our slaw dressing is gonna be Mexican crema sour cream. We're gonna add 3 tablespoons. And to that, we wanna add 1 tablespoon of granulated sugar, 1 tablespoon of avocado oil, or any neutral flavored oil is fine. Zest 1 lime. So I'm gonna squeeze the limes and then measure out 3 tablespoons. And then give this a whisk to combine everything. Pour that over. And then give it a nice toss. Then we're gonna add just a little bit of salt and pepper. And now mix that up really well. And then put it in the refrigerator for about 30 minutes. It's just an amazing, quick and easy slaw. They look so good. Yes, the time's gonna keep going down, I know. Might have to add a minute. All right, flip them. Gosh, I'll tell you, I'm not even sure I need to flip these. They're looking so good on both sides. Flip them gently so you don't disrupt the breading. In fact, sometimes it's easier to just go in with your fingers, especially if you have a lot of heat resistance like I do after all these years of cooking. Gosh, they are really close to being done. Now, if you see any areas that look a little bit like breadcrumbs, spritz them again, okay? While the shrimp finish up, let's get our warm flour tortillas that are homemade. And yes, they're so easy to make. And they take, oh my gosh, probably about 20 minutes active time to make. They're just wonderful, so easy. And then I have a mango sauce, which goes perfectly with these tacos, and that is homemade and super easy to make as well. We have our cilantro lime slaw, a little bit of Mexican crema sour cream, and chipotle. So probably this is about 2 tablespoons of the sour cream, the Mexican sour cream. It's a little thinner. You could also use American sour cream, that's fine. And then about a 1/4 teaspoon of chipotle, dried chipotle pepper. And then I have a little bit of cotija cheese that I'll just sprinkle right on top. You can obviously garnish with onions or more cilantro, whatever you like, but this combination is so delicious. All right, they are looking absolutely perfect. Oh my goodness, look at that fried shrimp. So easy. Now, can I do this without spilling any? No, of course not. That's okay though. That's what a reacher's for. There we go. All right, so we're done with the combi. We can turn that off. Now you can let them cool for a little bit, or you can do what I'm gonna do, which is get to making my taco. So what I recommend for a 6-inch tortilla is about 3 to 4 shrimp. Put those right on the bottom here. And I think 3 is gonna be, ooh, well, I'll eat that one. All right, 3 looks good. Then we wanna take a little bit of slaw. I'll use the same things. This is that cilantro lime slaw. Put that right on top. Oh my gosh. You guys are in for a treat. This is amazing. Then a little bit of the mango sauce. Just put that right over top. I'm not gonna be too particular here about how fancy I am. And then a little bit of the chipotle Mexican sour cream. Oh my goodness. A little bit of cotija cheese if you want. This is already getting kind of to be a large taco. Just a little bit of that on top. You must put some lime. Unless you don't like lime, and then don't put lime. And of course, serve it up with a mango margarita, which I made with the same mango sauce that we put on the taco. Oh goodness, this is so good. Okay, here goes. Heaven. These shrimp are perfectly cooked. They are flavored perfectly. Everything in this taco is perfect. It's delicious. And so is the mango margarita. And that's a sugar rim. Enjoy.